Hey, this is Super Saiyan Ryu, and today I'm here with my friend SethTheProgrammer. We're
Hello.
going to be talking about a debate here, and this debate is actually going to be a fun one. This is going to be two actually lower level characters. We all know Hercule or Mr. Satan from Dragon Ball. We're going to use the version that was seen in the Cell Saga, and he's going to be going up against the entire UFC roster from real life all at once.
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy. Um, all right, so you want to start off with doing Mr. Satan, or do you want to do UFC fighter feats? I think
Uh,
I think we should start with the UFC fighters actually, and then we
yeah,
can
for
just kind of
sure.
like, then we can just explain. Yeah,
Well, when we look at UFC fighters, these guys are capable of doing things like any martial artist. They could break bricks, they could break boards, obviously. They could do things like knocking people out with one shot and breaking bones, that kind of stuff. These guys are capable of moving at obviously near peak human speeds, which, I think it's something like a few meters per second, something like that. So these guys are, they're fast, they're strong. To be honest, these guys, even just one of them, could take out a good probably three or four regular men at once. And when you count the entire roster, I mean, you've got like 100+ guys there in that roster. So obviously,
yeah,
it's no pushover. It's a large group of guys, and each one of those guys could take out multiple average men. So yeah, it's
and,
pretty extreme.
and if you want like exact numbers, the exact numbers for how strong like a punch from a UFC fighter would be around 447 to 1,066 pounds. And if their punches, we're going to use the fastest punch recorded. Obviously, they'd be a little bit slower than that, but they'd be at least relativistic. The fastest punch recorded would be about 44 miles per hour, so about half the speed of a baseball getting thrown at you, but still. Um, so yeah, you're fighting like 100 people that can hit you with the force of a fucking like car, like a small car,
Yeah.
and it's going to be crazy. And they all have master. They're all master martial artists. They all know extreme technique and all that. So it's definitely going to be insane. It's definitely not going to be fighting like a group of zombies like he did in Fusion Reborn. But
Yeah. And we
so
know that when you look at humans, they're actually, when they're put into a state of enraged or bloodlusted, they can actually even be able to do things such as lifting over a ton of weight and that kind of stuff when they get the adrenaline going. So if this starts to get into a serious matchup, then these guys could perform even larger feats than what they've shown in the ring.
like leg pressing cars or 2,000-pound boulders and crazy shit. Like with people with an adrenaline rush can do insane things that people just can't really comprehend. Honestly, I think
Exactly.
I think there was a guy like he was like on like bath salts or like PCP, but it's kind of the same effects of extreme adrenaline. What is it? He like took on like 10 cops, I think,
Yeah, I think I
with
heard
his
about
bare
that.
hands.
And
Yeah,
I
and
know that there's lots of stories about like mothers and stuff when their child gets stuck under a big car or something like that. They'll just get right underneath that and lift the thing up with their adrenaline.
yeah, exactly. So people can do crazy things when they're bloodlusted or enraged.
I'll put it to you this way. Basically, the idea behind why a gorilla is so strong is because they always have full muscle activation. And once you become enraged and you have, the adrenaline going, that basically fully activates your muscles. So basically, most people are capable of being, almost as strong as a large ape like a gorilla or a large chimpanzee.
That's a good way of looking at it. I never actually thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like fighting like a silverback gorilla, I mean, their hands are like I think their hands have the equivalent of a weight of like a fucking bowling ball.
Yeah, exactly. And some of these
Insane
guys in the
strength.
UFC are almost as big as those, to be honest.
So I guess we've established how strong the UFC fighters are, and I guess we're going to go into detail about Hercule a little bit. Um, so for his striking power, what do you think he can handle?
Well, we know in terms of just raw strength, we've seen him easily do things like pull multiple buses, rip apart a bunch of phone books and stuff, and even using a chop, he was capable of splitting apart probably dozens of tiles, which is obviously above what a regular human could do.
Yeah, didn't he like jump out of a helicopter and
Yeah,
fucking like
he was like
take out a tower of blocks?
he was like 100 feet in the air, and he just came down with a chop and he destroyed like friggin' 100 tiles or something like that, and it was just
That's
crazy.
that's like insane levels of durability, and like his hand wasn't even like bruised or anything from that.
Yeah, all he did was like afterwards, his hand was just like the that little comedic glowing red effect. He just like blew on it and he was fine.
Yeah, kind of a little bit of gag and toon force, but it's very minute.
Yeah.
Like I think there's a scene where he took a kick from like Omega Shenron.
Yeah.
Like he's definitely has some goofy feats,
Yeah.
but it
Universe
does tie
level
in how
Hercule.
strong he is. Yeah, universe level durability.
Hercule Solo Superman.
So I guess for durability, what would you calc that at though? Like,
Well, his hand could take the same forces that he was putting out, so he should be able to take what he dishes out, to be honest. And I mean, if you can destroy that many tiles at once, that's got to be like wall level. And also, now that I think about it, in the tournament, we know he was able to dominate the tournament when key users weren't in there, right?
yeah,
And at one point, there was a guy who actually breaks a brick wall using an elbow in one of the scenes in the tournament.
yeah, that movie actor guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if that guy, who's just an average tournament fighter, can do that, and Hercule's supposed to be like one of the best in the tournament aside from the Z fighters, he could logically do that as well.
Wait, didn't Toriyama state that he's like the strongest non-key user?
I think he stated something along those lines. Yeah, he said.
So that means he would logically be able to do exactly just that, if not easier.
Exactly, and honestly, the tile feat itself is pretty much as impressive, if not more.
Yeah, like 100 tiles is way thicker than an average wall, and I mean, like, man, how much force would that take to break 100 tiles like that? Like, if you dropped a car on those tiles, would they break? Like, I'm wondering about that.
No, I mean like maybe the top 10 or 15 or something like that, but
Yeah,
once you press down that far, the amount of energy you'd need to actually split your hand through all of those, it's just crazy. That's like beyond wall level. I mean, honestly, that feat is probably high-end wall level.
yeah, I mean, like, if a car just came down and crashed through, like, maybe like 10 or 20 of them just hobbled off onto the ground, Hercule went through 5 times that.
Exactly.
So, and if you think about it, like a car is like what, like 2,000, 3,000 pounds of force, and then you have gravity throwing it down. So Hercule is easily at least like twice or maybe even like 5 times the hitting power of an average UFC fighter.
Oh, for sure. I would even go further and say he's probably easily double digits in terms of their average power.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, I for one, I've never seen a UFC fighter elbow a brick wall.
No, man, I
So-
know. I used to be in Taekwondo, right? And we'd have
Yep.
the black belts for their tests. They would try to break bricks, which are basically like about the size of those tiles, right? And
Yep.
for their tests, for like the 3rd degree black belts, they're only breaking maybe 3 or 4 of those tiles at once, and that's their test for getting their black belt.
Yeah, and that's like so Hercule's exerting at least 20 times the force, really.
Exactly.
Actually,
So he's easily, I would say, in the double digits of how many times stronger he is than an average, not even an average, like a pro martial artist.
yeah. So, and I guess we should go over speed before we do the conclusions. Speed-wise, we know that he's faster than the eye can see because like some guy tries to like rob him or mug him or something, and like he literally speed blitzes him before the guy can pull the trigger on him.
Yeah. Man.
So being faster than eye, how exactly fast is that?
To be faster than the human eye, it would depend on the person and their training. However, just to
Well, this
blitz-
guy's a trained thief, right?
yeah.
Shoots guns all the time, probably.
I'll put it to you this way. The only kind of people who are capable of being faster than the eye in like today's, or not even today's, the only example I can think of is Bruce Lee, who literally moved faster than cameras could record and people couldn't really see what he was doing. But aside from him, and he's a freak of nature, honestly, in terms of speed, I can't think of anyone who's been able to move faster than people can actually see.
And here's something else that's pretty interesting is that Bruce Lee did that with his kicks and punches. And your kicks and punches can move at least like twice as fast as your body actually can. Because like the fastest person runs 20-something miles an hour. The fastest punch is like 40-something miles an hour. So honestly, your punches are around at least twice as fast as you can run. And Hercule moved his entire body and blitzed that guy, not just a kick or a punch.
And I
So
think, wasn't that Hercule after the time skip? So he wasn't even in his prime anymore. He was like 7 years out of his prime.
yeah, he was living that comfy champion life, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so he was at least like that was like a feat that's twice as fast as Bruce Lee easily.
Oh yeah,
So
for sure. And Bruce Lee, as we know, is literally the peak of human speed. So I mean, and the thing is, that kind of feat for Hercule is actually a low-end feat compared to his other showing. Because his other showing, there's these two guys on a mountaintop when Hercule's with Majin Buu, and they actually take out a rocket launcher, launch the rocket, and as the rocket's going towards Hercule, he jumps out of the way of the rocket, and obviously doesn't hurt Majin Buu, who just stands there, but it shows that Hercule can even react to an oncoming rocket, which would be at least subsonic.
yeah, did he do it point blank or like really
it
close
wasn't
range?
like point blank, it was like, oh, I don't know, maybe a few dozen meters away, so, you know, it's like subsonic-ish. If the rocket's
Yeah, it's
supersonic.
definitely very fast.
So
either way,
it's definitely
so.
way above peak human, though. That's for sure.
Exactly. So I guess we should get into the final results. Who should win?
Yeah, for sure. When we go to strength, Hercule is easily capable of destroying like over 100 tiles at once and smashing brick walls like guys who are inferior to him. So strength-wise, he takes it. In terms of durability, I mean, he can take what he dishes out. His hands don't break, and obviously he could take shots from those kind of guys too, so durability, he should take it by a long shot. And I mean, speed, even if we just go with the faster than the eye can see, then he should be fast enough to keep up with these guys, but if we add in the rocket launcher feat, then he'll blitz them.
Exactly. So the only thing these UFC guys got going for them is just their massive numbers and maybe their basic intelligence as fighters.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe someone can get a lucky hit from behind, but honestly, it's just not really going to happen. So you were arguing before that the humans might get enraged after getting like hit or something. The problem with that though is that Hercule can hit with a shit ton of force, like over like brick wall level.
Yeah.
He's probably gonna one shot whoever he touches.
Oh, exactly.
Like what is it? He fought Spopovich, who was like a world class level fighter. He literally just jumped over him. Like he jumped over this guy and just like one shotted him, like he was nothing. So, and I mean, he's a Dragon Ball character. He's not like a normal example of a person. He's probably way stronger than a normal person, and he just jumped over and one shotted him. So these UFC fighters probably get the same treatment.
Oh yeah, these guys, they go down in one hit for sure. Because I mean, as we saw, even a normal pro martial artist in Dragon Ball can destroy a brick wall. So Spopovich is like world class, so he should be able to do at least that, and he got one shot. I mean, even if these UFC fighters increase their strength tenfold by having an adrenaline rush and hit Hercule, it'll probably just cause them to, you know, flinch at it, and then he'll just get back up because his durability should be wall level too.
Yeah, exactly. And so I guess the real problem would be stamina. So what do you think about Hercule's stamina?
That's a good question. Well, we do know that he fought a horde of zombies in Fusion Reborn, and he seemed to enjoy that. He was already out of shape then, too, and he was just, you know, beating them over and over again, and he was happy. He's like, oh, there's these enemies that I can beat on now. So I would say he could definitely take out a lot of them, and he would actually want to. And considering, even though he's not in his prime when he does that, when he's in his prime especially, he's working out every day. So, I mean, he can probably be going for quite a long time, and if it only takes one shot for each of them, I mean, even a regular pro martial artist could throw 100 shots without getting tired out.
Yeah, exactly. So if when he's out of shape and an old man and he can whoop on like hordes of zombies, when he's in his prime, like he's still one-shotting these UFC fighters just like the zombies. Like he's still blitzing them and he's still one-shotting them. So I mean, he honestly probably does have the stamina to take them all on. I mean, it would probably be way more intense than the zombies because they're a lot more coordinated and they're probably a lot more grouped together. wouldn't you say? It's probably like a really condensed mob of UFC fighters.
Yeah,
But
man. They'll probably try to formulate some tactics against him, and they'll probably actually tag him a few times. But in the end, they're just not strong enough to hurt him.
yeah, so I guess in the end, Hercule would probably win with like medium difficulty, depending on like how the UFC fighters formulated themselves. If they just kind of went brute force and try to mob him, it's low diff in Hercule's favor. But other than that, I just see Hercule just dominating.
Yeah, I agree. He wins medium or low difficulty depending on how the UFC fighters coordinate themselves.
Yep, exactly.
All right, so that pretty much wraps up that video, and I'll link Seth the Programmer's channel in the description below for this video.
Thanks for having me.